Leibowitz. Welcome to the Rest of Us podcast.
Thank you for having me on today.
Yes, looking forward to your conversation. Before we get started, I'll just have you introduce yourself and your company and what you do.
I help people get more traffic to their website using search engine optimization and digital marketing strategies. So kind of been involved with that since 2007, got my degree in business marketing. And right after I graduated from college, found a job doing digital marketing, and I didn't really know much about it. They said, don't worry, we don't know much either. We're going to take you to classes and workshops and learn alongside with you, which I was like, all right, this sounds interesting. Let me check it out. And after working there for a few months, just realized that probably websites are going to be the future. This is back in 2007, and that everyone's more than likely going to have a website. And there's lots of different ways to get traffic, but SEO is just a way to get free traffic. So I thought, why spend money on paid ads if you get up there for free? And over the years, worked at different advertising agencies as a director of SEO. And before work, after work, or on my lunch breaks, I work on my own company and built that up to where I was able to eventually quit my job and focus solely on this, and been doing that ever since, just helping people get that free traffic.
Yeah, lots of stuff to go in there. I want to go back to 2007. I wasn't as aware of the internet as you maybe were, obviously working in there because I was a lot younger. But talk about kind of just the internet in 2007 and, websites in general and what you saw. I guess like what was the landscape before you got there? And then as you were working, what did you see that made you like have that like light bulb moment of like, okay, websites are the future, SEO is the future. We need to work on that. What was where did that get started?
That was me graduating and not being able to find a job. So trying to figure out, all right, I got my degree in business marketing. What can I do with this? And then all these jobs are just sales, cold calling, and didn't want to do sales or cold calling people. So this one about digital marketing or about doing SEO popped up, and it's like, I don't really know much about it, but let me check it out and apply. And they said there's no experience required. They just wanted someone that had a marketing degree. And after working there for a few months, just kind of realized probably everything's going to shift toward digital in the future, and just kind of thought this is probably what's going to happen, just because everything did seem to be going that way. Back in 2007, I think, was when the iPhone maybe came out, first version of it. So that's really what changed everything too, is everyone has a phone. Well, nowadays everyone has a phone that connects everyone, and everyone has internet access. So that also kind of stimulated that growth where it's like, not sure what this iPhone, I didn't get the first iPhone, probably didn't get to like the fourth or fifth version, but did see that everyone was really using these phones and apps are kind of taking off, and just thought, let me just stick with this and see where it takes me.
Yeah. So when you were working with that company back in 2007, was it kind of odd for somebody to kind of talk about websites being the future and SEO being the future? Or were you kind of lucky in the sense that the company you were working for also had that vision? Because I feel like that was kind of like the time where maybe older people or people that were kind of entrenched in the marketing area, where they were kind of old school with the marketing strategies, and then kind of digital was kind of creeping up there, and there were the companies that got it and there were the companies that didn't. And obviously like we're here today, and a lot of companies that got it are really successful, and maybe the ones that didn't get it are kind of still trying to catch up. So what was when you kind of talked about like, okay, we got to focus on SEO, we got to do this, what was kind of the reaction from that company and just in general, were a lot of people into SEO, or was it kind of this odd thing to do?
Yeah, most people didn't really know about it. I was lucky that the company I worked for knew about it or somehow heard about it and realized this is what they need to do to get that traction. They were an e-commerce website selling products online. So I kind of realized there's a lot of ways to get traffic. SEO is just a way to get free traffic, and it's probably a better long-term strategy. But other people, businesses, because when I first started working there, I realized I could work full-time for this company, but I could also go to like a restaurant and talk to the owner of the business and see if they needed help with their SEO, because there's no conflict of interest. I'm helping out a company that sells products online. This is a brick and mortar restaurant. And that's really what piqued my interest. But trying to get explain what the value or why SEO is important to business owners back then was really tough. Nowadays, people realize you got to be online to get that visibility and traction. But back then, people didn't really see it. Some people did, but most were just like, no, not interested, don't know what this is. What is SEO? Search engine optimization doesn't seem relevant. I don't need it. I'm good to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So back then when you were starting to pitch like different clients and different businesses, when you would talk about SEO, because SEO, if people don't know, it's a very long-term play. It's not like an instant, like you put X, Y, and Z keyword into your website, or you write a blog with X, Y, and Z keyword, and you're going to get traffic like crazy. We're going to do, blog posts and keywords and metadata and all these kind of things. And then that will, work with the search engines to hopefully surface your page to people that actually want to see your page. And so it's a long-term play. When you were working back then, what was the kind of the timeline you were pitching them on? Were you kind of saying like, we're going to work now over the next few months, and then in a year you'll see results? Or was it in like a couple months you'll see results? What was kind of that timeline looking like?
Well, it varies depending on the competition or the competitiveness of those keywords. The more competitive those keywords are, the more time it's going to take to rank a website, because it's not one size fits all. It's not just here's what we're going to do for you. It's here's what we're going to do for your unique website, because every website's different. And it really comes down to how competitive those keywords are. The more competition there is, the more time it's going to take to rank, especially if you're a brand new website. If you're a brand new website, you don't have any SEO value, there's no trust, Google's not going to rank you for 6 or more months, versus someone comes to me and they've been around for 5 years, they've had their website up, but they never did any SEO. It'll be a little bit quicker just because Google's trusted them a little bit more. So it all comes down to trust. Google just doesn't trust any website, and you have to build trust up. And building trust is not easy to do, and it takes time. And the main way to build trust is by getting other websites to talk about you. The more websites that talk about you, the more trust Google's going to give to you. And once they trust you, then they look at those keywords on your website. But it doesn't work the other way around. Without Google trusting you, they don't care what you put on the website. They don't believe anything that you put there. And this is really what it's called backlinks, getting other websites to talk about you. So a backlink is a clickable link for another website that points to yours. So let's say you're reading an article in the LATimes.com, and there it says Brandon Leibowitz. You click on it and it goes to my website. I'd be getting a backlink from the LATimes.com. So the more websites that talk about you, the more trust Google's going to give to you, and the higher they're going to rank you. But I have to look at how many backlinks your website has versus the competitors. And that's going to let me know what the disconnect is. Like you might have 5 backlinks, and competitors could have 5,000 backlinks. And I'm going to say, all right, it's probably going to take at least a year or more to get that traction. But maybe you have 500 backlinks and your competitors have 600 backlinks, then it's not going to take as long. It's going to be a little bit quicker. So it really comes down to backlinks. That's a big part of how much time and effort is needed to rank a website.
Yeah. And I want to get into all of the kind of like strategy of SEO and the different like kind of nitty gritty of SEO. But I want to go back to kind of you starting your business. So you were working at different ad agencies, and you were kind of working on your business on the side. What made you decide to go the entrepreneurship route, start your own business? And what was the point after you kind of worked on it for X amount of time? What was that point where you made the switch of like, okay, I can just do this on my own full time, own my own business, go that route?
I don't know. Growing up, I always knew I wanted to have my own business or something like that. So I always had the entrepreneurial spirit. And after I graduated from college, the first job I got doing the SEO and digital marketing, made me realize I could work full time. And I was happy to have a job right out of college and pick up 1 or 2 clients here or there. But I didn't really want to go all in, because I was just happy to get a stable income, and did that for a while. But after doing that, maybe for like 8 or 9 years, where I was just working full time and I'd have like maybe 3 or 4 clients, I was like, let me try to really go all in and see what I could do and really push it. And once I did that, I was making more than I was making at these advertising agencies. And it's like, maybe I should really focus on this and see what I could do with it. But I didn't just jump ship right away. Like a lot of people just take that leap of faith, which it works sometimes, but it doesn't always work, especially like right after I quit my job. The pandemic happened and I lost a lot of clients, because I have a lot of local businesses that were like brick and mortar retail shops, restaurants, and that had shut down. So I lost over half my clients. And if I just jumped ship right away, I might not have been able to survive, versus me building it up. So I was like, all right, I have a stable, steady stream of clients and referrals, and built up a reputation. So it took a little bit longer. I could have probably done it a little bit earlier, but I wanted to go the safer route.
Yeah, definitely. I think when people are starting their own business, I went through this as well, where you kind of get to the point where there's that like fork in the road almost, where like you can either keep working at your job, working on the side, but you also have like, and there's not enough time in the day for you to work on both. And for me, that was like I was working a part-time job, and then I was working on my business, and I was working basically a job and a half where I was putting a ton of time into my business and then we're doing like part-time at the other job. And I just kind of saw the point where I was like, I don't like the work I'm doing in my other job. Like it just wasn't as fulfilling and I didn't really see it going anywhere. And I also see the part where I need to just jump into my business full time, because every day that I can, spend the entire day working in the business, whether that is looking for leads or working or actually shooting or doing things like that, that's going to lead to more success quicker than if I'm doing, a 12, 13-hour day in both jobs where I'm not focusing on either thing.
Yeah, spreading yourself too thin. Yeah, there's only so much time in the day, and sometimes you just got to make that decision and figure out, all right, what's better for my long-term strategy of what I want to do in life and how I'm going to get there. And you got to take that leap of faith.
Yeah. And I mean, there's still not enough time in the day. Honestly, like I wish there was, a couple extra hours, but yeah, once you take that leap, I think it's hard, but it's the right decision for a lot of people. There's a lot of people that are kind of like stuck in that point of like they're working in a job they don't like, but they also love what they're doing, but they don't see maybe the financial value of it. They don't see the success. But once you actually start to like focus your mind on it full time, it really helps. So now that we've kind of gotten through your story a little bit and talked about your business, I want to talk about kind of just SEO in general, because I think a lot of small businesses, they maybe don't want to put any money into advertising, or they don't want to put time into advertising. They're just trying to develop their product, or they're trying to develop their services. But I think that if you, like you said, SEO is a long-term play. So this is obviously a podcast about entrepreneurship and starting your own business. So for those small business entrepreneurs, people that are starting out their own business, maybe they have a site, a Wix site, a Squarespace site, whatever they have, where do you suggest they start with SEO? Because I think, like we said, it's a long-term play. And if you can at least start somewhere, it can start generating you inbound traffic, which is great for your business.
I mean, it gets a little technical, but one thing that's not technical is just text. So adding content to your website. Google feeds off content, meaning text. Images, videos, audio, they can't really, I mean, they're getting better, but they don't really understand it fully. The more text you have on your website, the easier it is for them to read, understand, and know what keywords you're targeting. So adding content to every single page, not just the home page, but any page that you want to rank needs to have content. So if you're, let's say, sound like tennis shoes, and you have a bunch of products of like all your shoes on your website, that's good for people, but Google can't really read those images. So they need content there. So you have to put text that supports whatever that service, that product, whatever that page is about. And usually you want to put a couple hundred words of content. The more you put in there, the better. It just has to be original. You can't copy it from one page to another. But content is so very important. That's one thing that's easy for everyone to do without having to go into the coding and make all these technical changes, because essentially Google reads code. They can't read websites, or they read the code. And they're just looking for you to put keywords in different places so they can better read and understand what that page is about, which I have a lot of videos on YouTube that show how to do that step by step, because it's kind of technical and I really need to show you how to go into there and make those changes. But first, before you even do all that, is keyword research. I'm going to figure out what keywords people actually search for. So there's tools like the Google Keyword Planner. It's a free tool from Google. It'll show you how many people actually search for that keyword every single month. So you can see, is this a good keyword, or should you use like a synonym, a plural or singular version, or other terms that you might not have ever thought of. Google Keyword Planner is going to give you tons of keywords that are related to that one keyword to pick and choose from. And those two starting points are going to really help you out.
Definitely. Yeah. Keywords it's a little confusing in the beginning because, like you said, it can get really technical. It can be kind of like abstract in a way. But once you kind of start figuring that out, and we'll definitely link to your page and your YouTube channel for people to learn more about SEO. One thing that I think some people might mistake when they start SEO is they might think that, okay, I have 15 keywords I want to rank for, or 5 keywords I want to rank for. Let me just like throw those keywords in every single point of my site and like do kind of keyword stuffing, which is definitely what you don't want to do. So talk about what keyword stuffing is and why people should maybe find a different way to include those keywords on their page.
Keyword stuffing is just stuffing keywords in too many places. So essentially you're just throwing keywords, just throw them in there because you think the more keywords, the more times you repeat that keyword, the more likely you're going to rank, which in the past worked, but now you don't need to do that. You just got to write for people. Don't write for search engines, write for people. That's a big thing, is You can read Google helpful guidelines and Google search essentials, and they're going to tell you what they're looking for, but really you have to write for people. Don't write for search engines. So don't just throw keywords just to throw extra keywords in there. If it makes sense to have that keyword in there, that's fine, but don't just be throwing a bunch of extra keywords in there, because that's not the best strategy anymore. And it looks spammy. It doesn't read properly. And sometimes you read articles and just throwing words in there just to throw it in there because I think it's going to help them rank higher. But if it doesn't read good, it doesn't look good, search engines aren't going to be happy, and they're going to potentially penalize you for that.
Yeah. So let's say people have like 5 or 6 keywords they want to rank for, and maybe they have some content ideas to rank for those keywords. What is it? Is it blogs? Is it descriptions for your products? Is it just description, like paragraphs on your page? What are kind of those like actual tactical items that they can do on their website to start ranking for those keywords?
They'd have to go into the coding and make changes to like an SEO title tag or meta description. Those are little technical ones, but like images, naming your images with descriptive file names. So don't just upload images like image001.jpg. Put descriptive words. Don't put keywords. Just describe what that image is about. Then having that content, that text on your website, just supporting all that coding that you just made changes to. You could add header tags. You could add schema.org, which is a programming language that the search engines created as a way to like enhance your listing and helps them just better read and understand what that page is about. Again, a lot of stuff is kind of technical, requires some coding. I mean, if you're on WordPress or Wix or Shopify and all these platforms, sometimes there's plugins and ways to get around it, but you might need to know a little bit of technical knowledge to get that stuff. But all that stuff just helps search engines better read and know exactly what that page is about. But content is so very important, and having multiple pages, because each page can only target about 3 to 5 words. After that, it kind of loses relevancy. So the more pages you have, the more keywords you could target, the more opportunities you have to rank for new keywords. And essentially, all your keywords, I would make a page for each keyword, unless they're related. But essentially, the more pages, the more granular that page gets to that specific keyword. So if someone's searching for that keyword and your page is only about that keyword, you become really relevant to the search engines.
Definitely, yeah. And I think, if you're using Wix or Squarespace or Shopify especially, they have really good, easy ways to do, the SEO, like the title tags and the meta tags and alt text for images and all this kind of stuff. They have kind of like sections where it basically tells you like, okay, what's the title tag? What is the meta tag? What is the alt tag? So those are really easy ways to do it if you're doing a custom site or if you're doing a more handmade site, things like that. It's more technical, like you said, the coding, the actually writing lines of code to do those tags. But just in general, on those like pre-built sites, like things that are really common for especially small business owners to do, they have really easy ways to do it. I was on Wix before I switched to WordPress, and Wix literally has a section just called SEO, and then it'll like kind of guide you through that. So that's a really good way to kind of get started. Another topic that I wanted to kind of hit on, and I don't know if you know a ton about this, but something that I have been listening to on different podcasts and learning about is kind of the way that search engines are changing in this kind of age of AI and ChatGPT and Bing and Bard and all these different chatbots that are coming out. Because basically, like, you can just ask ChatGPT to more or less write your own website, write content, write all these things. And if you, let's say, use Bard, which is Google's chatbot, you use Bard to write all the content on your site. Now you're using a Google service to write content for your site so that Google can read your site. How do you see that? And I don't know if you know necessarily the technical side of it, but how do you see that kind of changing the way that search engines work and the way that people's websites look if they're just going into ChatGPT or Bard or Bing and saying like, hey, write all this content for me, and just copying and pasting that into their sites?
I mean, that's just one part of the algorithm is content. You also have to do title tags, meta descriptions, interlinking the pages together, having all these other signals that if you're just copy and pasting text, that's not going to do it. You have to interlink your pages together. You have to set it all up in like topical hierarchies, and the way you structure and categorize your website is very important, but also none of that matters without backlinks. So you could have all this content on the website, but if Google doesn't trust you, you don't have any backlinks, they're not going to rank you. So for now, content, I mean, it's like a puzzle. There's a lot of pieces to this puzzle for SEO. Some are bigger than others, and content is a really big portion of the puzzle, and backlinks. Those two work together. Without backlinks, you're not going to rank on Google. And with good quality content, hopefully that attracts backlinks, but sometimes you have to build them on your own, but you have to get Google to trust you. That's such a big part, or it's called expertise, experience, authoritativeness, and trust. But all that really just comes down to backlinks and getting good quality sites to link out to you to build that trust up.
Yeah, so let's get into backlinks. You mentioned it a couple times. It's probably you said it's one of the most important things with SEO. So other than just having your site linked to somewhere else, like, or I guess that is what you want. But like, how do you go about getting backlinks? What types of sites should you be reaching out to get backlinks? Does it matter the type of sites that are linking to your site? Kind of talk about just the strategy behind backlinks and what all that entails.
So backlinks are, again, clickable links from other websites that point to yours. And essentially there's tools that will show you any website's backlinks. So I could see your backlinks, you could see mine, I could see Google's backlinks, you could see whoever's you want. You have to pay for these tools. The more popular ones would be like Ahrefs or Moz or SEMrush. These are all paid tools. You just pick one. You don't have to buy them all. But these tools will show you any of your competitors' backlinks, because the way it works for SEO is we're not trying to beat Google. Google changes their algorithm every single day. No one's ever going to figure out Google. But what matters is who's on that first page of Google for your keywords, how much SEO have they done, and essentially how can we do a better job of it. So using these tools, you can look at your competitors' backlinks and one by one, look at all their backlinks and see which ones are relevant and authoritative, because in the past, it was just a numbers game. Let me get more backlinks than you have. If you have 50 backlinks, I want to get 100. If you have 200, I want to get 300. But now it's not the number of backlinks, it's the number of quality backlinks. What's a quality backlink to Google? A quality backlink is a site that's related to what you're doing. So if you're like a dentist, you should be getting websites that are related to like health and medicine, and it doesn't have to be other dentists, just anything somewhat related to what you're doing. And then authoritativeness, like how popular is this website? If you're getting a backlink from my website, like if I gave you a backlink, it's a good website, but it's not the same as like an LA Times or New York Times or Forbes. So the bigger the website, the more SEO value. And the more relevant it is, the better off that backlink is going to be. So those two aspects are really important when you're building backlinks. But always starting off looking at your competitors, because you can reverse engineer and see exactly what they've done and incorporate what's working into your own website and skip over the ones that aren't relevant, and just kind of use your judgment. Look for sites that relate to what you're doing. You got to be in the same language. You don't want some foreign languages and all these things. So just kind of just use your best judgment when you're looking at your competitors, because you don't want to just copy everything. You just want to go for the quality sites.
Yeah. So those quality sites, not everybody's going to get an LA Times backlink. Not everybody's going to get a New York Times. So especially if you're just starting out, like I can't just go to a New York Times reporter and be like, hey, I'm a production company in Indiana. Can you write about me? Like, that's not how that works. So how do you go about actually getting these quality backlinks? Is it, I guess, what are those strategies? Is it just a cold email? Is it writing content about the person? Like, how do you actually get these backlinks?
Yep. So that's where, when you look at your competitors, you can see, all right, what did they do? Did they get an article or interview done on like the LA Times? If so, you could see who wrote that article about them, and you could reach out to that author and be like, hey, I saw you wrote an article about such and such company. Is there any way you could do the same? I mean, it's probably not going to work, but you never know. And if you just get one person to say yes, that's a huge win. So doing that, you can look at events that they sponsor. So if they go to trade shows and they sponsor events, you can see they get backlinks. Or if they're a local business, you can see maybe they join like the Chamber of Commerce or the BBB or some other local sites. But all that is just going to help you kind of reverse engineer and see what they've done. But after you've exhausted that list and gone through all your competitors, then you want to start building new backlinks. And the way to do that is the safer way to do it is by blogging on other people's websites. So finding other websites that are related to what you're doing and trying to build relationships with these webmasters, and essentially seeing if you could write for their blog or contribute an article or whatever needs to be done to get them to let you write about yourself, or not write about yourself, but write for their website, because then Google sees another website that's related to what you're doing is linking out to you, and that's going to build up that trust and give you that topical relevancy.
So let's say you go through all this. Every picture has alt text. Every website has a tag, and every website has a title tag and a meta tag. And maybe you got some backlinks from your Chamber of Commerce and from a couple events you sponsored. You have all of this. You're doing the work. You're putting in the SEO effort. where are you, at what point you're like, oh, that's like results? Like, how are you actually tracking this? How are you getting any analytics about this? What are some of the ways where you can start to see results and realize that your SEO stuff is working, your SEO work is working?
You could look in like tools like Google Analytics. It's a free tool from Google. It'll show you how much traffic you're getting to your website. And then from there, you can look at organic traffic. So looking at specifically SEO traffic, but there's a better tool. It's called Google Search Console. It's another free tool from Google, and that will show you more data about SEO. So Google Analytics shows you everything about your traffic, all your traffic to your website. Google Search Console shows you everything you want to know about SEO traffic or performance of your website, any issues. And I would recommend both of those tools. They're free. And that's just going to give you a wealth of information. It's going to show you what keywords you're ranking for in Google Search Console, what position you're in. So you can kind of track that and see month over month if I'm improving or what's going on. And those are going to be the better ways to go about tracking.
Yeah. So I think kind of closing out the podcast, a couple of things I want to mention are social media is another area. So a lot of people right now are like building their businesses all on social media, whether it's TikTok and they're just linking to kind of just different forums to reach out to people, or it's on Instagram or on Facebook or wherever they're doing it. They don't even have a website necessarily. They're building it all on social media. How does SEO relate to social media, and how can people use social media to drive traffic from an SEO perspective?
You really want to use social to drive traffic to your website, because social, I mean, you're just kind of renting space. You don't own those platforms and they could like kick you off. I mean, that's worst case scenario, but like engagement drops, like Facebook, if you just focused only on Facebook. And nowadays Facebook is still there, but when you post on Facebook, you don't get that same reach. Whereas in the past, if you have like 100 people that like you on Facebook and you post, all 100 people would see that. Nowadays, I think it's like 5% of your audience will see what you post on Facebook. So if you got to kind of diversify and don't put all your eggs in one basket, you just got to be in front of your audience and try to just be in the right places when people are going to be looking for your product or service. But social is good for like social proof, where it's like, for like, if we go back to like a dentist or like a lawyer, not many people are going to be going on social media looking for those services, but they might go on Google, look for a lawyer, and then check them out on social to see, do they have reviews? Do they have status updates? Do they have a following? Like, what's going on? Are they a real, credible, trustworthy business that I want to use? But social, definitely the more traffic you get from social to your website, that's going to help out. But social media, Google's pretty much blocked from all social media because they're somewhat competitors, except for YouTube. Google owns YouTube, and Twitter. Google partnered with Twitter a while ago. So when you search on Google for like a company name, like if you search Target, you'll see their most recent tweets pop up in big boxes. But other than that, Google can't really read Facebook posts and stuff like that. But they could see if you're getting traffic to your website through social. So social signals will help out. But in terms of like SEO, I mean, if you want to go in social media, you probably want to put keywords in your posts, like using hashtags, and name your images with file names that are descriptive, videos before you upload them to Facebook or Instagram or whatever platform. Name the descriptive file names. That's all going to help out a little bit with optimizing your social media presence.
Yes, definitely. And like we've said before, and you said and I've said, it's a long-term play. It's a lot of little things that you work on, but over the time, if you're putting in the work, maybe you're doing it yourself, you're working with an agency, you're working with Brandon, somebody like that, you're going to see results eventually, as long as you're doing all these little things to help Google trust you, help the search engines trust you. So kind of closing out the podcast, I want to talk about action items, tips that you have for entrepreneurs. So in your entrepreneurship journey, what are some pieces of advice you either got or you're starting to give to other entrepreneurs that you have seen make a big difference in the way that you look at business, and how your business has grown and changed over the years?
I would say, well, getting a mentor is a big one. So finding a mentor and someone that could help you and kind of learn from their experience in their past and help you just grow, because they're going to show you what works, what doesn't work, and they're going to give you feedback and ideas. And that really is the best thing, is finding someone that could just help you along your journey. It's going to speed things up a lot. And they've helped me out a lot. Kind of like, well, I do SEO. My stuff is kind of technical and gets a little complicated. So like, simplify everything on your website. Don't give them so many options. Like, I was giving them too much information where it just got too confusing. So sometimes less is better. And then once you get them on the phone or get them talking with you, then you could go more in detail. But initially, just try to keep it more simple and relatable to people, and talk about the benefits and how it's going to help them and their business, and just try to take a step back and think if you're looking for your product or service, what type of content, what type of text is going to resonate and make you want to reach out to this website.
Yeah, definitely. I think mentorship is super important, whether it's a personal mentor, business mentor, a little bit of both. Huge in your business, especially starting out, because I always say business or entrepreneurship is really lonely. And in the beginning, you're really just, unless you have a business partner or somebody else you're working with on a daily basis, any idea you have for your business is your own idea. It's not something that you can bounce off somebody else. It's not something you're testing. It's just like, I have this idea, I'm going to do this on my website, or I'm going to create this video, or I'm going to do this or that. So having a mentor to kind of bounce those ideas off, even if they're not, directly involved in your business, is really helpful, especially in the beginning. So if you have an opportunity to get a mentor or seek out a mentor, definitely do it. It's a great way to just grow personally, grow as an entrepreneur, and everything like that.
Yeah, it's so important. It helps out so much. And if you can't find a mentor, there's websites like score.org is a platform where they'll match you up with mentors if you can't find one. And nowadays with everything being online, you don't have to be there, and we'll do it on Zoom. But definitely go to networking events, get yourself out there. And if you can find a mentor in real life, that's better. But if you can't, score.org is a great platform.
Absolutely. Well, Brandon, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This is a great conversation. If people want to find you or your business online, where can they go to do that?
Yeah, so anyone that wants to learn more, I actually create a special gift for your audience if they go to my website at SEOoptimizers.com. That's SEOoptimizers.com/gift. And they can find that there along with my contact information and a bunch of classes I've done over the years. I've done them for free, so they can watch those and see step by step how to do a lot of the SEO stuff that we talked about. And also, if they want to book some time on my calendar, I'm happy to check out their website from an SEO point of view. And they can book some time for free on my calendar there as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that. We will definitely link your website, your YouTube channel, and the special gift that we have for the audience in the description. Again, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, and we will see you next time on the Rest of Us podcast. Take care. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Rest of Us podcast. If you enjoyed the episode, please consider leaving a rating or review on the podcasting platform of your choice. It really helps me see that you are enjoying the episode, and also helps other people see the podcast. Also, please consider giving a follow on social media. All the links will be in the show notes down below. Also, in the show notes, there is a link to the Rest of Us newsletter. This is a platform where I'll send out different takeaways from the episode, resources that were mentioned in the episode, and also notifications about new episodes. So make sure you click the link to subscribe there. So episodes are released weekly, and I will see you then on the next episode of the Rest of Us podcast.